Good morning and welcome. My name is Amanda Rossitano. I am NETA's Director of Operational Compliance, and I am so honored and excited as NETA Northampton gets ready to launch a new era when we open our doors to adults over 21 to answer the call of the Massachusetts voters to provide access to safe, legal, regulated cannabis here in Massachusetts. We want to offer our sincere thanks and congratulations to the Cannabis Control Commission and their dedicated staff, who we know have worked tirelessly to help get us to this point. We also want to say thank you to the city of Northampton for being a partner with us in setting the bar for what legal cannabis can look like here in Massachusetts. And speaking of incredible leadership, we'd like to introduce the mayor of Northampton, David Narkowitz, who we've invited to join us tomorrow morning to make the first legal purchase of cannabis here in Massachusetts, signaling an openness to being able to consume cannabis legally here in the Commonwealth. And with that, we'd like to invite you up, Mr. Mayor, to say a few words.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Northampton, also known as the Paradise City, Paradise of America. It's my honor to be here today on the eve of this historic day, both for our city and obviously for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, as we anticipate the beginning of adult use marijuana or cannabis sales in the Commonwealth. I want to first congratulate New England Treatment Access, or NETA, on achieving this historic first. I've had the opportunity to get to know the NETA team. First met them shortly after the legalization of medical marijuana back in 2012, when they began the process of applying to become a medical dispensary, which you see in operation behind you. I believe they were the third in the state to open. They've been great members of our local business community. They've been involved in our community. They've worked very closely with my office and our public safety officials to ensure that the sale of medical marijuana was successful. And I have every confidence that they will do the same as we embark on the beginning of adult use sale tomorrow. As for my being the first person to purchase, as I've said many times when asked about it, as the Chief Executive Officer of the city, I often get invited to new businesses that begin working in our city, cutting ribbons. I bought a beer at the new brew pub that opened around the corner from here last week. I want to support new businesses in our community, especially ones that are going to be creating jobs and creating revenue. Beyond that, though, I do think that as a supporter, a longtime supporter, both of legalization of medical marijuana and as a supporter of adult use marijuana, I think it sends an important message that I be the first person to make that purchase. There's obviously been a lot of stigma around marijuana in this country. Massachusetts has moved forward on it in terms of first voting to decriminalize, then voting to legalize medical and now recreational. Northampton has been a strong supporter of that. Our voters voted 75% in favor of medical and almost 70% in favor of recreational. So I think it sends an important message. I've also been asked about the fact that I'm a veteran. I know that was some focus for folks. Yes, I'm a veteran, but I think what's been more important for me is the city of Northampton serves a large population of veterans. We have a large concentration of veterans that live in our city, mostly because of the fact that we have a VA medical center located here that has a major PTSD treatment center. We also have a major veterans homeless organization, Soldier On, that has housing here in our city. So I work very closely with veterans, and Northampton, I'm proud to say, serves more veterans per capita than any other city in the Commonwealth. And I've heard the stories from veterans. Since the day this facility opened, I've heard from veterans who've said how life-changing access to legal cannabis has been for them. So I think that's an important aspect of this. So obviously I'm proud of my service as a veteran, but I'm more excited that my fellow veterans who need access to this, whether it's for PTSD or traumatic brain injury or depression or anxiety, this has been life-changing for them, and so I'm very pleased that more of them will have access to this. So again, welcome to the city of Northampton. Tomorrow is going to be an exciting and historic day, not only for our city but for the Commonwealth. And I know you're going to hear from our excellent police chief, Jody Kasper, about the work we've been doing collaborating with NETA to make sure that tomorrow is smooth and successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We would not have been able to do this without your support and leadership. The mayor spoke to the importance of this access for our veterans, and really, one of the things that NETA wants to emphasize is that our patients come first. We've been here doing this for our patients since 2015, and we want to ensure that our patients continue to have the same access that they've continued to have to date. With that, I'd like to introduce Kim Napoli, who is NETA's Director of Diversity Programs, who's going to speak a little bit about that patient element.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, everyone, for coming. It's great to have you here. And as Amanda mentioned, NETA is now accessible to everyone. While we are honored and very excited to welcome everyone tomorrow, we want to make sure that our patients are aware that they remain our top priority and can count on having the same quality of products and services they have come to expect. To that end, we will be continuing our $200 voucher program for patients, where if you come in within 30 days of obtaining or renewing your patient registration, you'll be eligible to receive $200 in vouchers to spend at NETA. We've also created special lines, and we have reserved inventory. As far as the state mandate requires us to do, we have a minimum of 35% of inventory on a daily basis available exclusively to patients. We also have dedicated lanes for checkout, so they'll be unlikely to wait in lines. We've also increased our communication with patients and directly letting them know where we are, when we are, and what they can expect from us if anything is to change in the immediate future. We also have products that are just for patients, so we continue to develop more products that target treatments that patients will need to have access to. And as I said, we're very, very excited to be welcoming everyone, including patients. Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much, Kim. And as Kim mentioned, yes, we're going to be welcoming many others to our store starting tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. It's certain that we're going to see somewhat of a crowd tomorrow, and we're very, very pleased that the City of Northampton has worked so closely in collaboration with us to prepare for this event. Here with us today also is Police Chief Jody Kasper from the City of Northampton, who's going to say a few words about how we've prepared to handle that oncoming traffic.
Good afternoon. I've been in policing for 23 years. A lot has changed. So I'm here to talk about traffic. So we're certainly anticipating that we're going to see an increase in vehicles as well as folks who are walking around the area. Pedestrians are going to be around. Our biggest concern is the safety of everyone in the area, and we know we're anticipating a large crowd. So we have officers who are going to be assigned down here as traffic officers. They'll be at the end of the street that you just probably pulled in on, that's Fulton. There'll be officers at each end that are going to be directing people into the street. People can go northbound or southbound on Pleasant, and then Fulton will be a one-way tomorrow. So people will be able to turn onto the street, off of Pleasant Street, and then when they leave the lot, we'll have people exiting onto Cons. And then over time, we'll just have to take a look and see how traffic is, if it's impacting other areas, and make adjustments from there. So we feel confident that it's going to be a busy day, and we're ready for the busyness. We have a lot of activities in our community that draw in traffic and crowds, and we're familiar with this. So we'll see how it goes. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. What a moment. We are so excited to finally be here today. This is really about acknowledging that there is now a place for cannabis in our society, and that place is no longer in the shadows. So with that, we welcome everyone over 21 to come visit NETA Northampton starting at 8 a.m. tomorrow. And with that, I'll take any of your questions. As far as the actual number, I think that it's very difficult to predict. I think what's really important here is that what we've done working with the city of Northampton, working with the police department and the mayor's office, and really getting ready to handle whatever that number may be.
What was your question? I'm sorry. Regarding this issue? No, not particularly.
What about police departments in the area?
No, not really. I mean, traffic's going to come into our community. We've let the state police know, so they're aware, just in case, we have backup up onto the highway or anything. But beyond that, no.
Sure. We've been working for many months now to increase our staffing levels. We've added over 100 staff members to our organization. It's going to be an all-hands-on-deck situation here in Northampton. We have many members of our team, both the team that works here in Northampton, also our executive team, and members of our team from other locations who are going to come out to really help make sure that this all goes down very smoothly. There will be separate lines for patients and for adult use consumers. We don't expect that our patients will need to stand in line outside. We're going to have the same number of service stations inside tomorrow as our patients have come to expect here at NETA. So we'll be working that line, handing out hot coffee, water, making sure people are comfortable, and making sure things are going smoothly. So we open at 8. We expect that people will start to line up prior to that. It's hard to say exactly what time people will start to arrive, but we are really making sure today that our parking lot remains for our patients only, and of course for the few media trucks that we have out there. I think it's hard to make any guarantees, but we feel very confident that we are very prepared from a supply standpoint for what's to come. We've also been working with our neighbors to secure a whole bunch of additional parking spots in preparation for tomorrow's extra traffic. So across the street at the Gazette and at the Fairfield and across the street we'll have some parking as well. As long as they have a valid government-issued ID showing that they're over 21, they will be allowed to access our facility. That's correct. Correct.
Symbolic purchase. I'll probably just purchase one of their chocolate bars, most likely. But I think that's the plan, and obviously it'll be a historic artifact of tomorrow, so I won't be consuming it. I'll be, although I've heard a few jokes about that. But my plan actually will be to preserve it and display it because it will be a historic purchase here in the city of Northampton.
Mayor, we just ask that if you do consume it, that you please go low and slow.
Understood.
I think as far as people lining up outside beforehand, we do expect that some people will come in the nighttime hours. Again, we're working closely with the police department to make sure that that's well managed.
Yes, there are. It's new. I mean, anything new that comes into our community, we're always kind of wondering what will happen. So really, NETA's been a good community partner, a good business in our community. There's been no issues with medical marijuana that's something that's been well received by our community, no issues there. And we'll just kind of have to wait and see. You know, we've certainly taken a look at some of the reports out from states that have already gone through recreational marijuana. So, you know, we're keeping our eye on impaired operation, whether or not we're going to see any impacts there, and youth access. I think those are the two things that I've talked about the most, things for us to keep an eye on.
Chief, can I just ask you to expand upon one topic, which is that you've been at this for more than 20 years, and a lot has changed.
Yes.
Can you just sort of reflect or expand on where you came from at the beginning in terms of how you dealt with marijuana and where you are today?
I think anyone that looks at the alleged war on drugs recognizes that 20 years ago we were probably approaching that the wrong way, right? And we know that enforcement, incarceration are not the right answers for addiction, right? When we're talking about particularly heroin, the opioid epidemic. So things have changed. Laws have changed. When I came on the job, needles were an arrestable offense, possession of a needle. Marijuana was an arrestable offense, right? So we've seen a lot of things change. Even the stigma around addiction has changed quite a bit. So it's been a kind of metamorphosis for policing in general for us to kind of keep up with the changes in laws and kind of to readjust the way that we think about some of these things. Yeah. Well, we're all Massachusetts police officers, so I wouldn't be jumping over any lines to, you know, when they enter into Connecticut to do anything with Connecticut.
I would say that one of the important elements here is education, and education is really at the cornerstone of what we do here at NETA. So we'll really be informing our customers as to the rules and the regulations around what they can consume, when they can consume, and really making sure that people understand that if you purchase marijuana here in Massachusetts, it should be consumed here in Massachusetts.
Does that mean that, so you've been fielding calls from people in other states?
We've been fielding hundreds of calls for the last several weeks.
So you're ready to educate people?
Absolutely. Not only do we have educational materials that speak to this, but our staff goes through weeks and weeks of training to make sure that they are well prepared to educate the folks that they're serving on how to responsibly use cannabis.
Staff level on a normal day, how many extra staff do you have on?
So to put it into perspective, we've gone from, I believe, about 15 service stations to close to 25. So, you know, that's sort of reflective of our staffing increases. We've also increased the amount of people that will just be out on the sales floor talking to customers, making sure that they have the information they need before they even get to the registers.
You say over 100 have been added?
Organization-wide, yeah.
All right, anything else? We good? All right, if we could have, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you
for
so
coming.
much.
If we can have all the TV folks stay here, we just want to talk about what's available to you outside for stand-up positions and things like that, just so everyone's got the answers they need here. And then for everyone who parked across the street, thank you very much. You see our limited parking, as you saw. We want to make sure our medical patients are our priority and they have the access to the parking. So that's it for now. We're around if you have any additional questions, but this is going to be our statement for today because we need to get ready for tomorrow. Okay? All right? So thank you. So TV folks, what we're going to do is everybody who asked, you'll have the transmission vehicle outside. As you said, you can only take one parking space for a transmission vehicle. We're asking everybody else to park across the street. But I think you see in the area we have north out there, there's enough space. We're not going to pay you in, I don't believe in that. But I'm just asking you to work in the space you got. And if you need something, ask. We're here to help. So, okay, there are no live shots inside just because we don't have the space. And I just, you know, you guys don't want to be talking over each other. I think that's kind of awkward. And plus, I'm told that everything's going to get better this afternoon. So what better place to get fresh air than our